to Pro Booth Talk, photo booth insight, tips, and banter recorded by boothers for boothers. Brought to you by ProBoothTalk.com.
So welcome to the show. We've got a guest host with us today. For those of you that don't know, Shannon Sherrick. Meet Shannon Sherrick. Tell us who you are, Shannon.
Hi, guys. First of all, it's a pleasure to be here with you two powerhouses. And I'm just very excited to be able to talk to you today. So thanks for having me. Let's see. I grew up in Syracuse, New York. And my mother, at a young age, I observed her being the people person that she is. And, she just inspired me to learn people's stories and find out where people are from. And I have a theater background, so does my mom. So she went from theater to sales, much like I did. And I remember vividly being in the Girl Scouts, and she leaned over and she looked me right in the eyes and she said, "Baby, we're going to sell more cookies than any gal in this town ever has." And we did. We sold thousands of boxes of cookies. She would take me to bowling tournaments. She would take me to company parties. She'd say, "Shan, go talk to that woman." And I'd say, "What should I say?" Say, "Ask her how she's doing. What does she do for a living?" Strike up conversation. And I was like 7 years old. So my mom was always inspiring me to go out there and talk to people. And that's where sales started for me, in the Girl Scouts.
That is
awesome.
That's such an awesome
Shannon,
story.
It is the works and sells for our company, actually, Smash Booth. So she's here in Vegas with me. We're actually in different rooms of our office right now. She's in the front meeting area, and I'm back in my own office. But a couple days ago, I overheard her on a phone call. It wasn't a sales call. Someone in the industry local to us called her up and was just complimenting her on her ability to network effectively, and was just asking for some tips. I listened and eavesdropped on Shannon's tips a little bit and thought it would make a great podcast, and invited her on. So here we are, networking with Shannon.
Thanks, boss.
Hi, Shannon.
I love it. Hi, Lap. Beautiful Lap. It's just, I love people. What can I say? I love meeting new people. I love learning about what they do. I get really excited when I think, "Oh, wow, this could be a collaboration. This is a win for you and a win for us. And I like your company." So their company as in their conversation. So I started this thing called Coffee and Cronuts here at the office, I don't know, like a year ago now. And I invite some people in the industry over every 2 weeks. Usually it's 3 people max. And they're just different people in the industry that do, maybe they're a DMC, maybe they're a photographer, maybe they're a florist. And we all just get together and talk, because as we know at events, we get so busy and we don't get a chance to really talk and connect. And so I love inviting people to that. I think it's important to go to the association get-togethers. For in Vegas is LVHA and WIPA and NACE. And I always give a card, but take a card from that person that I'm connecting with, and I make sure I follow up with them in an email, and I invite them. I think it's really important to initiate, because so many people say, "We should get together. We should get together." Well, let's do it. Let's put it on the calendar. So I'll email and I'll say, "Here's some dates. When can you come over and have some coffee and cronuts?" Have you had a cronut, by the way, Lap?
Yeah. I have. Really good. But that's really awesome.
So good.
I agree. Like a lot of people don't take they don't take the initiative.
Yeah, and I would say, so starting at the beginning, like networking events, a lot of people, there's a couple things. A lot of people have a hard time approaching people at those things, and oftentimes I hear, I was the past president of the Vegas Wedding Chamber, and one of the things that we're always fighting with is people always would come and say that all the mixers are so cliquey. And I hear that about our WIPA association here as well. You may have the same thing in your local areas. In my experience, though, things aren't as cliquey as people feel. It's just that people tend to gravitate to the people that they've known for years, and they're talking to those people. But anytime someone comes over and introduces themselves, they're always immediately welcome into the conversation. And I think people often just are intimidated into interrupting the conversation. So let's start there. You have any advice for people that are new to an association, going to a network mixer? Like, who should they talk to? What should they try and talk to them about? How are they interrupting conversations to get involved?
I do think that you're going to vibe with certain people more than others, and you are going to know people and have history with people. But I think it just depends on what kind of personality you are. And I encourage you to step out of your shell and introduce you to somebody. Start with one person. A lot of times people think at these events, it's successful if they come back with a stack of cards. Really, if you make 3 really good connections, that's even better than just running around and trying to meet everybody. So start with one person, introduce yourself, ask them about what they do. I always talk about ping pong conversations. I'm attracted to that. We all know those people that just talk at you and they talk and talk and talk and they've learned nothing about you. So I think if you break the ice by asking them a question, hopefully they'll reciprocate, and start with one person. I always look for the person that's by themselves because I love to be inclusive. I've never been cliquey, and I want people to feel welcome, and I love connecting people. Oh, you also do social media on the sides? Hey, here's so-and-so. She's been looking for someone to do her social media. And then I walk off because I've now connected 2 people. I just don't like anyone to feel uncomfortable. So if I'm not there and somebody's by themselves, just psych yourself up to just go up to start with one person that's maybe by themselves 2 or 2 people and say, hey, how are you today? What do you do? My name is so-and-so, and start there.
Yeah, I really think it's that easy too. Like, just direct walk up to somebody and just introduce yourself. I feel like a lot of people overthink that. Yeah, Shannon?
Oh, I definitely think that they overthink it. Put it off of you. If you're feeling self-conscious about talking about yourself, make it about that person. Ask them about them. People generally like to talk about what they do. We're all in this industry because hopefully we love what we do, right? So try to take the pressure off yourself and put it on that person and ask them, what do you do? How did you get into it? And then just let it organically flow from there. But start with a few questions and let it flow.
Yeah, I guess not the biggest thing that I took away there, but one of the things that I've always told anyone that I'm sending to these sort of mixers or whatnot is exactly what you said. It's not a race to get business cards. Don't try to meet every single person that's at the event. Just try to meet just 1 to 3 people that you really make a connection with. And you don't even have to talk about work or what their industry is or how they got into the industry. I mean, it's great too, but maybe you connect over movies, or maybe you both like, whatever, I don't know, Pokemon Go, or are building that relationship. That's where those longer, more dependable referrals and business is going to come from.
Like solid relationships. Yeah.
And that's very true. I agree, Jason. That's really what the goal of Coffee and Cronuts is that we don't have to talk about work. Let's just get to know each other and talk about other things and see where else we can connect. Maybe we both like bingo and we'll go to bingo. It doesn't always have to be about, work. A lot of times it comes back to that subject, but getting to know people on other levels is what makes those stronger relationships. I think too that sometimes people feel like they're bugging someone if they reach out and they maybe hear something, but then they don't hear back and they feel like, should I email again? There's nothing, in my opinion, there's nothing wrong with hey, thinking about you. Hope you're having a great week. Are you available for coffee sometime soon? Again, initiating, putting it out there. Most times people are going to say, oh my God, I've been so crazy busy. Thank you. Thank you for reaching out to me. I've been meaning to reach out to you. So it's just an organic, like dating or a friendship. You got to initiate, you got to make plans. And if you don't do it, they might do it, but they still might very well want to get together. But it takes how about next week at 2:30, on Tuesday?
Extra effort. Yeah.
Yeah.
not going to go to a networking event and get 6 leads and start booking jobs. You have to build those relationships first, because people aren't going to refer you unless they know you, they trust you. They're certainly not going to just put their own reputation on the line to refer someone that they met once and handed a business card to. So you've got to build those relationships. And Shannon's mentioned a few times coffee and cronuts, and that's kind of a way that what we do to continue building those relationships. Something, as she mentioned, she implemented about a year ago, and it's funny because we do it twice a week or once every 2 weeks, and we've gotten to a point now where people will come to her at mixers and be like, almost become like exclusive. Like, when am I going to be invited to coffee and cronuts? How come I haven't been invited yet? Because people kind of start talking about what they did at the office, because it's no shop talk allowed. You're not allowed to talk about bookings or what packages we have. It's only, Shannon will come up with some kind of games like 2 Truths and a Lie or something like that, and it's only relationship building focus.
Love that game.
And people love it.
I think there's a common, like, a mistake that people make where they think like networking is just getting your business card and then pitching. A lot of people tend to do, like, they connect with that person and right away they go into like pitching mode. And the one thing that I've learned through the years is people do business with friends. People do business with people they trust. And if they just met you, there's a lot of people who think, oh, I went to this mixer, I met this person, I'm pitching this booth to them, and they're not booking. And you're thinking, you're trying to explain to them the reason why they're not booking is because you can't build that relationship overnight. They probably have their own, fleet of boothers that they use for specific types of events. You're not going to meet that one person and impress them that one time. Like, you really do have to work and build that relationship and that friendship. I feel like networking is really making real friendship type of relationships and connections with people, like checking in. Hey, how's it going? How's your week? I don't think people realize that really is the core of networking. Like, you going to the networking event is meeting them, but you really have to work and take effort into building that relationship long term. Sometimes it takes 3 years to build, business with someone that you meet.
Yeah,
exactly.
And
I couldn't agree more.
A lot of times people go in focusing really strongly on the people that's going to give them direct business, like trying to meet all the planners and all the venues and all the catering managers. But, they're like you just mentioned, they've got so many photo booth companies that they've been working with for years. They're not going to just sacrifice this company that's built up this relationship with them because you gave them a business card at a networking event. And for whatever reason, people discount their peers like the DJs and the photographers and the florists and only aim at those planners, when really, if you start making friends with all those florists and the DJs and things like that, when a planner is looking for a photo booth company, they will typically go to the vendors that they already know and trust and say, hey, who have you seen doing photo booths at different events? And a referral from a photographer for a photo booth company is worth far more value than a business card that she has in her pocket from someone that she probably doesn't remember. So,
I think any kind of referral, not
any word of mouth.
Photographer. Yeah.
Anybody.
Yes. Because you build a reputation. Absolutely.
Yeah. And we're all vendors of different kinds at the same events. And we have people ask us about DJs and about venues all the time. And so we know who we know kills it, gives an amazing experience, and we trust. It's so true what you're saying about that. It's not, don't think of it as being immediate. It's like dating or friendship. Like, let's start somewhere. We're not going to get married after 2 dates. I mean, some people do, but let's just get to know each other.
Yeah.
If we vibe, it's like, come over, hang out. And then, I'll send you the deck, but it's not about that. You can't expect, and it's not the right attitude to go into it. I'm networking to get, they haven't called me at this job. No, you like this person, you like what they do, you think you could work well together, get to know each other, court each other, and then it'll come. When the time is right, it'll come, if it's the right match.
And so some people are unfortunate enough to have an office where the staff all meets and has a meeting room. So pretend that you're working out of your house, or you're a new business owner. instead of doing coffee and cronuts, how are you going to follow up with people? Because I think that's the bulk of the photo booth industry. I'd say probably like 95% are solo ops or just working out of their home or garage. So put yourself in that position, and how are you going to do, instead of coffee and cronuts, build those relationships outside of the networking associations?
Sure. I think that I would, everyone seems to like coffee. I think I'd make a coffee date at a Starbucks or a Coffee Bean and meet for coffee there. I think something else I do that I do now too is if I like somebody in the industry and I'm going to a WIPA event or an LVHA mixer, I invite them to go with me. I said, "Did you see how fun that looks? Let's go there." Again, you don't have to have a space for that. You can meet somewhere else, a coffee shop. You can invite them to a networking event. You can, I mean, in a place like Las Vegas, we have so many things happening all the time. You just invite them to something if you like their company.
You could always meet up earlier and have a drink before the WIPA meeting, or those associations typically have like groups of people will have like after parties. You know, you either listen to where those after parties are going. It's typically going to be a bar that's walkable, or else start planning one yourself. Just people that you meet, say let's have drinks after this association. I mean, they're already dressed, they're already out. They probably are already planning on taking an Uber home or something. So take advantage of that time.
Right.
Like me, where, you know, I'm a stay-at-home mom. I don't have the ability to be able to go out and meet people because, you know, I do a lot of my back end. So I'm usually busy with my time. So people like me, I use Facebook. You know, I use Facebook to chat. I mean, me and Jason have known each other. We met Jason like 8 years ago, and you know, we keep in touch. We check in on each other, ask questions. Sometimes it's just one small sentence, you know, you ask a question, help them through. But it's been an 8-year relationship that me and Jason have had, and look where we're at now. We started this podcast back up.
Congrats.
Congrats.
I love this.
Yeah, but it's the whole concept of like keeping in touch with the people you connect with. If you're not able to get yourself out to these, which for me, I'm not able to. I can't go to a lot of these networking events. I can't meet up with people for, you know, donuts and cronuts, even though I would love that, coffee and cronuts. So I do a lot of like texting, Messenger, Facebook, Instagram. You know, I do a lot of messaging. A lot of the folks that I network with are in other counties, and it just makes it a lot easier to build that relationship as long as you stay connected with them.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be full Facebook conversations like you were saying. It could be simple as just commenting on one of their posts or complimenting something or saying happy birthday.
Yeah.
And those like tremendously long happy birthday messages where everyone just pops in, like shoot them a private message and just say, "Hey, I saw it was your birthday. I hope you have an amazing day." And I have a few people in the industry that text me on my birthday, and I know that they don't memorize my birthday. They probably put it in a calendar somewhere, and it's just part of their marketing system to tell people happy birthday. But it's the only happy birthdays that I remember because they stick out to me, because they're not the millions of texts on one Facebook thread. They're the 4 that I get personally text to me. And they're typically the same things that the Facebook text messages say, but it's a lot more personal just because it came to me directly.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be business. That's the thing. You literally can just send someone a meme and be like, "Hey, check this out. This is hilarious." It's something so small, but you're, you know, putting yourself in the forefront of their. Yes, you're making yourself present in their, you know, in their mind. So they remember you not because of your photo booth. They remember you because you sent them this meme that was hilarious. And, you know, that's something that makes you memorable. That's the one thing about networking people don't realize. It's not about pushing your business. It's just making that real, genuine connection, that friendship. And you were saying marriage. I was thinking like a bestie. Like you don't find a bestie overnight. It takes time to build.
You don't find a bestie overnight. You don't find a husband overnight. It takes time. Relationships take time. And my closest friends and family, it's equal initiation. They'll message me. I message them. You know, you never feel like, oh, am I bugging them? Or, you know, should I reach out? Like those people that, you know, you can always reach out to and wish them a happy week and just say hello. That's what it's about. And with Facebook and Instagram, there are people in the industry that I know have a similar situation. They can't get out as much at night. Life happens. People have families, but we do comment on each other's things and we do send each other messages and we keep in touch that way. And then we see each other. It's this big reunion and it's wonderful, but it's,
Yeah.
yes, just another way to keep in touch with people. And it's frienders, right? We're all frienders. And
Yes.
I love an open house where it's like a reunion, or just like PBX was a reunion where you're just seeing everybody in one place that you like so much. And because we're all busy working and it's just great to be able to see each other where we can and keep in touch and make those dates when we can.
And I think another thing is when we're at PBX, a lot of us reconnect with each other. But another part of networking is like making sure that you make connections for other people. So you're talking about like when you're at a networking event, you introduce one person to another. That's really huge because then you really become part of, you're building a whole network of people. You're not just connecting for your one person, but you're connecting a whole bunch of people. It makes you almost invaluable when people know they can come to you for referrals because they know you're connecting, who needs to be connected. If you're looking for a photographer, they know Shannon probably knows a great photographer because she introduced me to this great DJ, so people will reach out to you and be like, hey, Shannon, help me. Yeah.
Yes. It makes me so happy to make those connections.
And you're both of those people are benefiting. Both of those people are going to remember and appreciate that. You got one person business and you solved another person's issue. You offer them a solution. So you're essentially putting your name first in two people's minds. And that, echoes through with clients as well. If we ever hear clients are still in the setup phase, we immediately will tell them, if there's anyone you're looking for, we work with so many people locally, day to day, like we're happy to give recommendations. And there's a few people we tell you to steer clear from. And if you get into a situation where you make a few of those recommendations for a DJ or whatnot, it really strengthens the connection between you and that client. And obviously that's just as important as relationships with other peers and industry colleagues as the relationships with those clients, because they want them to keep coming back.
Definitely.
And this doesn't have to stop at peers and colleagues as well. On the same note as clients, there's certainly some clients that we invite over for coffee and cronuts and have over at the office and whatnot. One specifically, there's a few people during PBX that we have a photo bus, and during PBX it was at Mandalay Bay, but it was in a full wrap, so it didn't look like our bus. And a few people messaged us and said, "Hey, someone stole your bus concept." And we're like, "No, that's our bus. We just wrapped it." That company may come over to our office every now and again and have coffee and stuff with us, and it's really great to keep building those relationships with people that actually pay your bills and keep the lights on as well.
That's so awesome. Like, networking allows you to collab with a lot of other vendors, so you're able to create, what you guys had with the buses that were, moving people to your warehouse. I think that's a huge part of networking too. Sometimes you build these relationships where you guys all work together to be able to deliver or even show something to your clients that you wouldn't be able to do on your own. It's like a whole partnership.
I was just going to see if you had any advice for people improving. I mean, you're giving obviously great advice on what they could do, but how could they actually practice or get better at networking and meeting people when they go to these mixers and things?
You know what? I think I would recommend taking an improv class. I would recommend challenging yourself to put yourself in a situation. If you're not a natural people person, put yourself out of your comfort zone. You're going to learn a lot about yourself. You're going to get more confidence. And when I used to do improv in Chicago, we had doctors in the class. We had teachers in the class. We had people who wanted to be more outgoing. And so they made themselves do this. And watching them gain that confidence was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. So I would recommend that. I know people that just, how Beyonce has the alter ego. What is it? Sasha Fierce. You got to put it on. don't be fake. But if you're not naturally outgoing, just try to challenge yourself to do something out of your comfort zone. So you learn more about yourself, you feel more confident, and you can just go up to someone you don't know. Because my husband's an introvert. When he comes to something with me, he's just like, that's my babe, social butterfly. She's doing her thing. But if he had to go into a room with no one he knew, he would die. He's just like, he would. No. And I'm like, but honey, you're so amazing. Nothing I can say to him will give him that, because he's just too nervous to go up to talk to somebody he doesn't know. So if you want to network, you have to find a way to approach someone you don't know, ask them about themselves, and baby steps.
There's something really great about if you are in a room, before you go to a networking event, if you're in a room, set a goal to meet 3 people for that event. So, and whoever happens to catch eye contact with you at that event, that's the person that you go over and you walk over and you talk to. That takes away the thought process of like looking around and figuring out who do you want to introduce yourself to. Whoever you catch eye contact with, that's the person that is number 1. Second person that catches eye contact with you, walk over there. Hi, my name is Lap. I run photo booths. What's your name? It's, I think that was something that takes away the pressure, especially for someone who's shy. I used to be shy as well. So like the idea of walking up to strangers or even a group of people would have been very daunting to me. But that tip that I read was such a great tip, because when you have their eye contact, they already looking at you. It takes a lot of that pressure off. They already looking at you. Just walk over. Hi, my name. I think that's a really great way if you're shy or uncomfortable with it. Yeah.
That is great advice. And also, like we were touching on before, don't put pressure on yourself that you need to leave with like a ton of contacts. Start with one person. Just go up to that person that's maybe also by themselves in a group of 2, introduce yourself. It's not about, at these events, it's about organic networking, who you connect with, and quality versus quantity, because that's just going to make a stronger relationship moving forward, instead of just coming home with a pocket of business cards. I do think people sometimes pressure themselves. Like, I need to talk to a lot of people. Find a couple people you connect with, and you've done great. Just introduce yourself.
Yeah. Thanks, Shannon. I was saying, when you introduce yourself to someone who's by themselves, they're going through the same thought process and the same anxiety. So you walking over and saying hello to them, you do not know how much they appreciate them having a friend on site, because they're going through the same anxiety that you have in your mind of being at this whole party. Everybody's like in what looks to be cliques, but I don't really think that's the case. But you introducing yourself to that one person, you're taking the anxiety off of them. They're gonna remember you. If they're a planner, if they're a DJ, they're gonna remember Shannon, because Shannon came to me during this party when I didn't know anybody, and now 3 years later, now I know everybody. So it's again, it's a long game. Introducing yourself to people who you don't have to target the groups. Eventually someone will introduce you to another person who introduces you to another person, and eventually you're part of that group. It's just not pressuring yourself.
Right. Yeah, that's important. Think about it that way.
I think we've probably covered most points on the topic of networking and meeting people and building the relationships and continue relationship building. So we'll wrap things up. Thank you for joining us, Shannon.
Thanks.
As always,
you
if
for
anyone
having me.
has,
it was my pleasure.
Yes. If anyone has follow-up questions, please send them in. We'll get them to Shannon and either report back, or if there's enough questions, we'll do a follow-up episode with her.
Sounds great. Lab, have a wonderful day.
Thanks, Shannon.
All right. So don't forget to join us on our
I'm not doing it.
Facebook community, Pro Booth Talk community. Check us out on TikTok, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you podcast. YouTube.
Yep.
If you'd rather watch the show, and that's about it. Thanks, everyone.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Help to keep this free information coming. Subscribe to Pro Booth Talk in iTunes or Stitcher Radio. And while you're there, be sure to give us a 5-star rating. Finally, watch for show updates at facebook.com/ProBoothTalk.